Hello, hello, good morning. It is Friday, and it is another wonderful day to be working on my What the Prompt tool. So let me get myself organized here. I had a whole tab, I think, that had all this stuff in it, but I'm trying to remember where I put this. Let's see here. I think it was this group of tabs. I was doing a little bit of work yesterday. Whoops. On this, I have my prompt calculator stuff. Let's see, I was doing some work here locally. I have a reference light. All right, let me close out all this stuff because I do want to keep the palette stuff open. And we'll start at Lovable. Oops, that's my local host. All right. Well, let's see. So this is the new version of Lovable. So yesterday, after the stream, I started working a little bit more because I just couldn't put this thing down, and I started working on this like sort of glass design for the background. So when you switch between different scenes, it changes color, and it sort of adapts to the color of the background. Um, I also still have some of the debug code. I'm going to have to turn this debug code off for all the stuff in the background. But this is pretty much working well. What I need to do now is I need to go through and fix these buttons, and I need to go in and understand what it's doing here to make sure that these buttons are all designed correctly. And before we do that, let's do this. Git status, git fetch all, git pull all. All right, because I haven't updated the local dev version of this. And let's see here. This would be coder. Well, it should be coder Jesse Freeman. What prompt v2? For those of you actually playing along at home, I think I make this. Yeah, this must be public right now. So, I mean, there's nothing you can really do with it, but I'm still tweaking it. Okay, so that is good to go. What I want to do is in the let me close some of this stuff up here. Close, 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 and close. I think I'm going to get started with it on my dev server first before we go into Lovable, because there's a bunch of things I want to make changes to, and I can easily just do it there. All right, I had to sneeze. Hopefully I didn't do that in your guys' ear. So let's see. I'm just closing out my windows here. I also realized I forgot to open up my chat program so I can see if anyone actually leaves me a comment. Find and activate source. All right, so I got my chat up. I was running a little late today. There's just a bunch of stuff that I'm trying to work on all at the same time. All right, so that's good. That's good. I'm just organizing some windows here. Let me close this, and we should be good to go. Okay, so I'm going to start going through, and I want to start cleaning up these buttons. I think the first thing is let's just turn off the background debugging. So there should be a background something or other here. Let me see, background, canvas background. Use canvas background, which is the hook. that's weird. Where did I put that code? Let's just look for debug. Here we go. Floating shape background debug. We'll set this to false. I know what I was doing. I was looking at the background, which handles the color, and not the actual little icons and stuff that are floating. So I feel like yesterday I spent a good chunk of time getting the floating icons to work the way that I want. I really like that. I think the opacity is good right now. I don't know how much you can see that on screen. I think that all this is looking is like something on my glasses. I'm trying to like clean off. I think all this is looking really good. What I want to do now is just make sure that these buttons are all consistent. And I think I'm actually going to bring in, I'm going to bring in Mammoth on this, which is it's like a service I've been using that lets you sort of prompt to a whole bunch of different chat engines. And what I want to do is, let's close this. I want to pass through, actually we'll just do this, git add all git commit off background icon debug. All right, so at least this will now work there. And I'm just setting something else up over here on a little computer to the side. So let's see. What we want to do is I want to go through and figure out what is making these nav buttons, what styles these, and how do we get all this stuff aligned. So let's do this first. Let's do the button. We'll go to the button component, and I want to take a look at this. We can make this a little smaller before it starts. Actually, we'll just make this smaller, and I'll just shrink this until it fits, because it's not really that important at the moment. So what I want to see is, here's the nav button. And one thing I didn't understand, this is text icon. I guess, okay, because you can't have a, I was like, why is that a string like that? But it's because you can't have a dash in a variable name, I guess, for some reason. That's so weird. All right, so I want to start disabling a couple things here, because I don't think this is actually being used anywhere. So if I delete this nav, delete this icon text, I think icon text is definitely being, icon text was supposed to be used here, but it didn't do anything. Let me bring this back in. Yeah, I don't think, I think Lovable says that it was setting these things up, but it really wasn't doing anything. Let's find the nav. Top nav. And I want to see where these nav button 3D. So if I remove this, one of these buttons should remove the 3D. Maybe it needs to be refreshed. Nope. Yeah, this nav button 3D doesn't do anything. Unless I, oh wait. All right, this is what we need to start working on. So okay, I need help cleaning up my buttons CSS and CSS. First, we need to figure out what is actually, actually styling, what is actually styling the nav buttons, then isolate that so it's in the CSS and can be applied to other buttons. Here are some files. Reference. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is, actually, I wonder if I can just move this over here. All right, this will make this a little bit easier right now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pass it in. This is top nav, TSX. And so what I'm just doing here is I'm just going to preload the LLM to understand, give it a little bit of context. Now, I was trying to do this in Lovable, but it seems to be just making a mess of the style, the CSS stuff. So I'm going to start just going in here by hand and trying to fix this. This is Tailwind config TS. And then the last thing is going to be, there was a index CSS. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. I keep forgetting, like when I hit return, it goes to Llama, and Llama is just not what I want. There was a place where I could, there used to be a place where I could, oh man, this is so stupid. Hold on a second, I need to just copy all this and we're gonna start a new prompt. Here we go, let's make a new prompt. And we need to hit Claude. I feel like Claude has been actually the best for coding so far. All right, the nav buttons are using these key styling elements: menu item, menu open, and nav 3D. Inline styles with dynamic shadows and colors and borders. In the Tailwind config, custom components like dot menu and dot nav button 3D with transition effect. All right. Let's consolidate this into a clean, reusable system. First, add this to your index file. Set up the Tailwind config. Remove the .nav 3D. Update your top nav component. And all right, let's see if this is actually doing what I wanted to do. So it's telling me that let's add this into the index CSS. So I'm just going to put this at the end so I could find it a little easier. So, all right. So we now have, we now have this. And then the next step of what it wanted me to do was to update the top nav. It's weird that it's not hidden behind there. I think something already got mixed up, but oh my god, what did it? I don't think it gave me the full code. I think it just gave me. Wait, how does this? What am I looking at here? Return nav. Okay, I hate when it does this. So I need to, let me just give me the full code with updates. All right, so let's see here. Let's see what it gave me back. And I want to see this before I paste it in. Wow, it really just... Yeah, I got that. All right. So it consolidated, it cleaned up all these things that quickly. Something's not right here. Because I feel like this button's smaller. Oh, you know what? I see what the problem is. The problem here is that I'm... Oh no, it's not it. All right. What I want to see now is if we go into this index and we undo these changes and we save it, these buttons are now do not have any styling. All right. Why can't I? Oh my God, I can't go forward. All right, this is fine. We'll just copy back over the styles. Oh wait, that's the wrong thing. No. There we go. All right, so now our styles are back. And what I wanted to see was, let's talk more about, okay. Let's show it the button component. I just want to make sure that this doesn't affect anything. Just takes me a minute to go through all of this UI and you know, I want to make it, okay, okay. Now I want to clean up the button press effect. The button should move down without the shadow disappearing to show it's being pressed down. It doesn't have to go down all the way. Maybe 80% down. All right. Should we find the button press effect? So my goal, my approach now, because I tried doing this with Lovable yesterday, it was just a disaster. My plan is to get these buttons exactly how I want them to be. And then once I figure that out, then I'm going to abstract it out and apply it to everything else. So let's do this. We'll paste this in and let's see if it fixes. All right, what I want to do is I want to show it a screenshot and see if it can understand. Okay. All right. Can you make the base of the, well, I am only seeing that on the menu button, not all the other nav buttons that expand out. All right, let's see if we can get it to be more consistent. As are receiving the same 3D effect treatment as the main button. Here is the updated CSS to ensure all buttons have the same 3D press effect. Additionally, you need to update your top nav. That's fine. All right, and now let's update the top nav, which is just the render logic. All right, and now let's just hard refresh this. All right, I push that down, that works. Nope. All right. Make a change. Here is the button component in case there are any conflicts. All right, I'm going to show it the button component. TSX. All right. I see this here. Now looking at button TS the image, I can tell your top nav buttons are using different 3D effect, which is using a 3D class to find. Let's update your approach to fix the button press effect across all menu buttons. Update your top nav. Should I remove? Also make sure that your 3D interactive class in your CSS. Should I remove any of the variants? Variants. Based on button navigation, you can simplify your approach by consolidating the button variations. Here's my recommendation. Remove the nav variant since we're handling the nav with custom classes. Add a new nav button variant that's specifically designed for your 3D nav elements. Okay, hold on. Let's do this. We're going to move. I'm going to remove these styles real quick. And we'll come back here. All right. And now let's go back to what it was saying to do here. So what we're going to do is we're going to update the CSS. And I think it's trying to do a couple things at the same time. So I need to limit its scope of what it's actually going to do. And workspace index unknown word. What do you mean an unknown word? When I add this, I get an error. So normally I can go in and do these CSS things myself, but the problem really comes down to that this stuff is, this 3D effecting is a lot more complicated, and I don't 100% understand. I've used Tailwind before, but I don't really mentally understand how to use these utility classes. My brain just doesn't want to accept it. So this just seems like a perfect thing to offload to the API or to the LLM. All right. I'm hoping that the reason that this broke is because update your top nav. All right, and now we restart. I wonder if, no, this broke everything, huh? Let's see here. I don't think I'm describing what I want. All right. What is going on here? Why am I not able to get the... Why are the drop shadows not working anymore? What did I break here? There we go. Huh. All right. All right, let's try this a different way. Let's take a step back and just focus on cleaning up the nav, buttons, and their styles in a way that is reproducible. I've reverted my code to this. All right, so we have, I'm getting rid of these styles that are no longer working. We'll copy this. We'll do button, TSX. Oops. Then we'll do top nav, TSX. And we'll do the full index. Index.css. Oh, you know what? I think it told me to get rid of something back in this Tailwind CSS. Let me find that. Whoops. Tailwind config. All right, tailwind config.ts. All right, let's go back and just double check that we're able to clean all this stuff up and see what it has to say for itself. Whoops. All right, looking at code, let's create a clean implementation 3D button press effect for your nav buttons. I'll keep it simple and focused on what you need. Update the CSS in your index CSS, fine. Make sure your top nav components are properly applying the style. Key difference to note. Wait, should I remove anything from the Tailwind config? Yes, we can clean it up by avoiding duplicates of potential style. What to remove in Tailwind? All right, so let's do this. I think these are the things that were causing the problems. All right, so we're going to get rid of this dot menu item and menu button open. We'll replace it with just this. All right. And what to add to the add this updated definition. All right. Also consider adding these color specific button classes as a complement to your existing nav button 3D. All right. All right, I'm just trying to see here real quick. So it hasn't affected any of this stuff. If I push this down, that effect goes. If I push that down, the effect goes down. All right. Now, the only other thing I wanted to do is I need to go back up here. It says it wanted me to update your Tailwind config. Find and replace the... All right, I think we did this. Do we have this 3D button now? Yeah. Transition. Okay, fine. And then it said now in here for the top nav, let's do the main nav button. I think this gives me everything I need right here. The main button. All right. So now what's going on is this should now have, whoa, this is screwed up everything. Oh, I see why. It doesn't like comments like this. So that broke everything. Let's go back here to the way it was before. There we go. All right. So that all right, let's see. So this broke. All right. Let me tell it this for a second. I want to let it know that if I make your suggested changes to the top nav, the buttons break. So here is where what I have, but so what should I do to clean up their styles without breaking anything? All right. If I make a suggestion, change. All right. Does my comment back? Looking at your top nav components, see that you're already using custom styles as variables. Let's keep this approach and just clean up the standardize the implementation. Here's a cleaner approach that won't break your current functionality. Update your top nav component. Remove any conflicting users from component style. Modify the component to use the predefined classes. This is so many steps. All right, let's see what we need to do. Add these utility classes to your Tailwind config. So let's go to Tailwind config, and we're going to look at the add components. And I'm just going to tell it to give me back the code, the exact code that it needs. Show me the exact code with updates. All right, so let's see what it returns back to me. 3D effect enhanced. Now update. Come on, finish rendering. All right, so now we copy this. We paste. That should fix it now, so all right, that works, I think. Let's go back here. This is not broken. Now update your top nav. Our top nav should be these now. It's weird, it didn't give me all the inputs correctly. I guess because it removed this button. Oh, did this give me the whole code? Okay, fine. Good. All right. And then I've lost my color. So let's see why we're losing the color. I think pretty soon I'm going to have to go in here myself and do this by hand, because this is just not, this might just be strangely too complicated for the LM. I really thought this was going to be an easy fix, and I thought that the LM would be able to at least identify like the duplicate stuff and organize it for me, but keep your original Tailwind config mostly intact, but update the nav button 3D class. Tailwind 3D nav 3D button. Wait, it didn't give me that correctly. Here we go. We'll replace this class. Keep your original top nav components mostly intact. Define your menu items the same way you had before. The rest of your component logic. All right, now in top nav, we're going to go here to this return and paste this in. But it gives me a bunch of errors. Key edit. To BG color. I see why. There needs to be a comma. Comma, comma. And I can go back and fix these colors. But let's see if this actually just works the way that it's suggesting. All right. All right, I see all of them are green for now. I'll fix that later. Can you fix revert the can you fix the logic that lays out the buttons so they go back to where they should be? And we'll just give it a point of reference for here, which is what these buttons should look like. And let's see what it does. Although I feel like we're getting closer. I do like the way that it's breaking this up now with this shadow. We just need to start moving this into something else, but I'll take a look. I see the issue now. The buttons are correctly styled. Their position in the circular menu is broken. The second image shows the layout should look like. Let's fix the positioning logic in your Tailwind config. Add components. The key is to ensure that these circular menu position rules are applied. Also, all right, so let's go here. Actually, all we need is menu. Tailwind config should be nav 3D menu open checked. Fine. We'll do this. And there's duplicate 3D style, which is fine. Let's remove that. And now coming back here, the key is to ensure these circular menu positions are properly applied. Also, check your HTML structure of the components to ensure it follows the same pattern. In the component, class menu. Why would it be a type check? Why would input checkbox? Oh, I see. Input checkbox. Div current name. Wait, I'm not. Let me just have it update this. How do I update this code? All right, let's see what it has to say for itself. The structure of your return statement is good. We just need to ensure that the correct ordering in the menu. Here's the updated code. We'll close that. Or not? Wait, what just happened here? Return. Declaration statement unexpected. All right. Limit to 3 items. If your menu has a specific order you want to maintain, you can sort the item first. This ensures the item will be in the same order every time. No, this is still not. This is still broken. Here's what I want to do. We're gonna check this code out. Or actually, you know what? I have this code at the top up here. Wait, this still didn't work. What is actually controlling the animation position of the nav buttons. All right, you're right. Let's dig deeper into what's controlling this. Let's analyze the essential parts. So here's a more complete implementation to fix your menu. First, update your Tailwind config with this exact thing. All right, so let's update Tailwind config. For add components, which I think just ended here with the 3D button nav, fine. All right, and then now update your component. Top nav, return, and let's go all the way to here. All right. It's still not putting them in the right position. Let's pull the code out. I guess it was here, Tom. That is still not fixing it. Here was the original code. Top nav. Top nav. Tailwind config. And then we'll just feed it the index CSS. Index CSS. Index CSS. There we go. All right. Let's see what it has to say for itself, because now I think the bigger issue is that it's moving around a lot of stuff, and it's really hard to keep track of what is being moved around. I see the original code. The main issue is likely that some CSS selectors are missing or not being applied correctly. Look at your original Tailwind config. The circular menu is defined with these selectors. Update the Tailwind config files plugin section to restore the original menu styling. Keep your top nav component exactly as it was originally. Don't change. You know what? I'm starting over because this is just screwing up, and it's not working. I just don't think I git reset hard. I don't think I really gave it the right instructions. And what I want to do now is I want to try this again. So what I want to figure out is, all right, I need help cleaning up the nav button styles. I want to abstract them so I can more granularly, oops, did not spell granularly correctly, granularly apply the 3D effect, change the colors based on the theme, and custom shadows, colors, and not change their position or break their layout. The goal is to refactor how these buttons are styled, make them more modular, and prepare them in a way that will allow us to change, allow us to apply the same pattern, the same styling to other buttons. Once this is all working, let's go through the changes, one change at a time, and only continue when I ask you to. Also, keep all responses short and always return full code with applied fixes. Let me know when you are ready for the code. All right, let's go to let's go to Claude, and we'll try this a different approach. So, and I think this is sort of the problem with the LLM stuff, is like it really comes down to the art form is really about prompting and how good of a prompter are you. So we're going to start with this. We'll start with the Tailwind config. Tailwind config.ts. And then after this, we will do index.css. Then we will do topnav, nav.tsx, and then the final thing will just be the button. All right, let's see what it does for us. This should have been a really quick response, unless it's giving me a lot of code back. All right, looking at your code, I can see the nav button needs better abstraction. Let's update the top nav file to use the 3D classes from your CSS and make the styling more consistent with your button component. Here's my proposed. I'm going to try this real quick, but I think the reality is that I want the styling to come from this nav button, and then once we get it working, we'll apply it to everything else. But let's do this, and I just want to see what happens. Okay. So let's do it this way. Can we try a different approach? The other styles are broken or incomplete. I want to use the nav button styles as the one source of truth. Let's abstract them out with their current styling. Create new styles to reference. Remove any conflicting styles, and once isolated and working as expected, we can then talk more about how to abstract it and apply it to other buttons. All right, let's see what it comes back. Right, for the more focused approach, and I think this is sort of what I'm talking about with like the prompting. It's also why like vibe coding is never going to be good until it either gets smarter or without knowing how to like approach these problems, it just becomes difficult. So, all right, let's see what here. Here's your updated nav. Let's try to apply this now and see if this, excuse me, it doesn't break anything. All right. These changes have broken the buttons. Can we focus on just pulling the styles out and coming up with a better system for sharing the styles across the buttons? I'm reverting my top nav code to this. All right, so I'm going to I'm just going to tell it that I'm reverting this code so it at least has a point of contact for what I'm actually reverting to. And then we'll pull out, I'm hoping now, maybe this is like the fourth time I'm trying to approach this problem. I'm hoping now it'll think a little bit better through, I see the state of your nav buttons. Let's focus on creating a better system for sharing without breaking the existing layout. Here's the approach. All right, so extract the common button styles into reusable objects. Create. The buttons should look identical to your current implementation with more maintainable structure. I don't buy that at all. Whoa, it actually did it. Okay. All right. What I want to do is get it to now. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, that worked. Now, explain to me how the CSS is working on each button and what they share and how they differ. All right, so the nav buttons share these common styles. Round, full, text primary, white, transition, transfer, enable smooth animation when button is pressed. Actively trying to create a push effect when clicked by moving the button down 4 pixels. Active shadow. Shadow structure border. Adds a subtle border to the button's edge, menu position. Now, button-specific stuff. The background color, text color, 3D shadow color. Fine. How the 3D effect is created. Okay, so assuming this is all correct, let's do this now. Okay, now I want to focus on fixing the push effect when the button is pushed. Its shadow, its edge and shadow disappear. Whatever. I'll worry about spelling later on. See the issue in the image when the button is pressed, the shadow edge completely disappears rather than creating a proper push down effect. Let's fix the 3D button effect. Wait, what did it do here? How did it break everything? Is it not giving me the imports? Wait, hold on a second. What is going on here? This code is not complete. I get these errors. Use a certain percentage of your message quotas, 95% in the last 30 days. After reaching this limit, you'll still be able to generate messages on Mammoth with limited models. I mean, like, the documentation quota applies to any messages containing more than 10. Wow. All right, this is... I'm going to have to get rid of Mammoth. I don't like this at all. Because I'm going to run out of credits in a minute, and I just don't want to... Like, the whole goal of this was I thought it was going to give me more access to these models, but instead it just winds up just becoming another $10 a month service. All right. All right. That broke the button and made them not slide properly. Instead of using a instead of fixing the push effect, show me only the code I need to fix that. Place these CSS classes in the nav button style. All right. Where are these styles being set? Nav button styles. All right. Let's fix this. I'm just curious, like, each piece of the way, like what the effect does. Because if we, I wonder if we took out this, what happens? Like, I don't think it's actually applying any of this stuff. Oh, that applied something. Shadow. All right, base change. Huh. All right. I want to actually go back here and just see something real quick. All right, that button's still not clickable, which is fine. Now add this new function. I'm trying to save credits, which is why I told you just to give me the code that I need, but that didn't move anything. And now Add these event handlers to each button. All right, nothing's working. So that's brilliant. All right, I'm just going to go and try to figure this out myself because I'm just tired of how this is working. All right, what can I help with? Let's see how ChatGPT handles this. Need help getting the button press animation to look like the button is being pressed down right now. The edge and shadow disappear. Yeah, I really don't know how to spell disappear, huh? Disappear. Let's focus on doing what we can in this class. All right, let's see what it has to say about fixing this effect. I didn't really think this 3D effect was going to be such a pain in the butt. Because now, if we just get this to like work, then I can abstract it out. I won't need to use the LLM anymore. But this is just, it just seems to be like struggling with this idea. On the top nav, constant press keys. Wait, does this already exist? Add a press key state in mouse event handlers. Okay. So we'll add this. And then now div current page button other to the end of nav. So we'll take nav at the top to the end of nav here and apply it into this. And then hopefully let's see if this gives us a better place let's see if this gives us a better place now to at least do this animation. Now it doesn't do anything. How does it go from like breaking all my stuff? Wait, let's do this. I'm going to copy out this whole nav piece and let's just revert it real quick. All right, so now we're going back to here and now the menu is working. So what I wanted to figure out is, whoops. I want to know what it actually changed here. So, okay, so I'm just going to I'm going to go through this like line by line now. Because all right. The first thing is this index, or this toggle button is the button here. So let's get rid of this. Menu open. If we get rid of this, does it get rid of the styling? All right, and then it just becomes a regular checkbox. So look into where this is defined. Oh, all right, I see. Where this class is defined, menu open is defined. Because this is, let me make this a to-do. This is part of the problem, because what's happening is that this button is treated differently than the other buttons because it's a toggle button. And I'll deal with that later. But what I really wanted to look at was I wanted to see what it was doing here. Other menu map. Let me see if I just copy the other menu map over, if that breaks the animation. Interesting. All right. If key translate Y. Let's just do this 100% and just see. Oh my God, this has gotten. Okay, so this is part of the problem right now. Okay, so trying to do this, I'm trying to test out what you are doing, and this is not making the button act like a press. It's moving the button 4 pixels closer to the center of the nav button. The face of the button that has the if this button the face of the button that has the icon is what should move down. Is there a conflict with the way I am having the menu slide open and the button's concept of its position? Already yawning. It's 10:30. I think there's a lot of moving parts into this button, a lot of them that I added myself. So, like, I wonder if we did it as like 0.2. No, it just doesn't like this translate right here. If I get rid of this, press transform, and now I try this, the shadow goes away. Wrap just the icon in an inner element and translate that, giving, instead of moving the whole button. Class name menu. This isn't going to work. There's no way this is going to work. Yeah, like this didn't do anything. Hold on, where's my history? Trying to find where I bookmarked this button. Here we go. Wonder why class is inaccessible here. All right. So now moving back, so going back to the original button. All right, here's what I want to do. Let's give this one more try. If I use this button, this was the original button, and it works. So can you adapt this to use the icon and correct position? Just inline, just hard code. All right, let's just see what it comes up with this. Here's how to fold your working button into the menu using your icon instead of question and preserving the shadow. All right. No, that doesn't work. All right, I'm just gonna do this by hand because I'm so tired of like fighting with this thing today. So let's just see. All right, so I'll save this here. And now if I come back, each of these are being pressed correctly. And now what I want to do is I want to see how class name, style, transform, shadow, react, CSS properties, icon. So now let's see here. This is a question mark. Can I just put this icon here? All right. So that fixes that. Does not exist. I'm using the original. I'm using the div button code I showed you, which works. Yours did not. What is how do I fix this error? Change your JSF from class to class name. All right, now let's make sure this didn't break anything. All right. So now I just want to see what happens if we get rid of this style. It just handles that. Okay. So I'm trying to do this piece by piece. So here is my code, and I want to know if I can pull these styles out of the hard-coded div and keep them on this page while I continue refactoring. All right, why didn't it submit that? All right, I didn't make much progress, and I think I'm not going to be able to. This is going to be a short stream today. I got a ton of work to do. Yes, you can extract the whole class into a constant and then just reference it. For example, all right, and now reference menu base cn item bg color text span flex. Wait, what? Div. All right. It wants me to replace this whole div. And now oh, I see what it wants me to do. All right, open, and then all right, why did it do this so weird? I want this whole thing here. All right, so now if we come back here, these buttons are now being pressed. Okay, so now why are they getting this? Okay, I think it's dynamically changing. Where are you now setting the button face color? Cool. I guess ChatGPT doesn't want to submit things anymore. Right now, the face color is coming from that hard-coded blue. You're then applying an item BG color via the CN, but since BG Blue 500 comes first, it wins. Remove the BG Blue 500 from the menu and rely on the item BG color. All right, BG BG border All right, delete this. No. Okay, hold on a second. This is the border around the circle face. This whole thing here, this is the darker side of the button and its shadow. So if I change, this is the shadow. I bet you if I change this, we can even make this white. All right, so this first part is the side of the button and is the shadow. All right, so let's change this now to FFF. Right, that's white. Okay, and now I should have just done this from the beginning. I was just being so lazy and relying on the AI to do it for me. I'm trying to see what is this. I'm trying to see what this shadow is. I don't see this doing any real effect here. Active. What does... There's arbitrary variant that on active sets. In other words, when you press the button, it swaps out your normal 3D shadow for a 0 offset no shadow. Oh, interesting. I see. So if we get rid of this, hitting this is just going to move the whole thing down, but it isn't actually pushing it down. So this is, okay, so this handles the push effect, and so this is FFFF. Doesn't matter. In fact, I don't even know why you need this color, because it's just disappearing, so it's redundant. And this color, I don't think this even needs the colors, because if I'm understanding this correctly, this is moving the two different shadows and changing their depth. I don't understand how any of this is not being applied. Okay. Can we simplify this? I removed the colors and didn't see a change. Shouldn't this simply focus on moving and removing things? It's terrible and already has built-in for no shadow inactive. You can drop that big arbitrary rule and just use active shadow none. Wait, what? Comma and comma, and let's get rid of this. Oops. And now, okay, so now the button effect is working, how it should still. I wonder if I did this to 1, if that would make a difference. So now the real question is, let's start removing things and see what happens. Button still looks the same to me. Button still looks the same to me. Let's see, move this one back. So I think if I'm understanding this correctly, I think the shadow is what's actually telling its shadow no is what does the tween to make the button appear like it's going down because it's removing the shadow. So, all right, that seems to be a neat trick. Let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of this. Okay, those were the 2 missing ingredients. These 2 things are critical for the drop shadow. These are the 2 styles that give the button its push effect. All right, so now we've identified where the push effect is coming from. And I click on this and it doesn't do jack. All right, oops, perfect. So let's see what this transition all duration is. All right, the transition is now what's making it look like it's moving, but I want to actually just remove that because I don't mind the button just dropping down like this. What I want to avoid is any Y movement, because when this menu is supposed to slide back out, it already is applying effects to the menu or to positioning. So I don't want it to be I don't want it to be doing the same thing, because then it's just going to screw up the sliding again. I mean, the whole goal right now is to remove as much as possible. If we got rid of this, it'll make everything square. Perfect. Let's do this. This handles the animation time when pushing the button. All right. this is the shape of the button. And this is the size. Okay, now if I press these buttons, they're good, and moving away doesn't break them, so that appears to be working correctly. Now the real question is, can we abstract this out? Side of the button. I just want to double check some of these colors here. Right, that's the side. Oops. And this is the drop shadow. Okay, so the drop shadow should remain fixed. I always want them all to have the same drop shadow, which should be the same for every button. All right, is the drop shadow is the side of the button, which should be darker, a darker version of the face. Which should match the side. So, and this is what I think, in just trying to simplify this effect, if we do this border blue, we do it like this, and that made it white. What if we changed this for this? Huh. Okay. All right. I think we're getting somewhat closer here with this stupid effect. All right. What I want to figure out now is this array is passing in primary and text. I feel like shadow color, like let me take a look at this. Where's favorites? Because that's probably going to be the one that I'll easily see. So now, if we set this here, whoops, give this a pound. All right. The real question is why this doesn't work. All right. Why does changing this to a hex not work? Oh my God, why is it not, there we go. Because Tailwind only recognizes arbitrary values when wrapping in brackets. Ah, okay. That's all I needed to do. We needed to put it into a bracket. And now we have the right effect going. So the question really comes down to now is, okay, all right. I have cleaned this up, and now talk to me about how we can apply the colors to change the side instead of it being hard coded. You can drop the hard-coded border box shadow from menu item and then drive them off of each color via the style prop. All right, let's see if this works. I'm just going to comment this out and paste this below it. And now actually, I just want to do this div here, which is right here. All right, and now, all right, so that fixed the color, but the animation is not correct anymore. Instead of just hiding the shadow to move the button down, it just moves the entire thing. I don't know why. Like, there's like some days when this like button works if you just hit return, and then other days like I feel like I can't tell they're like changing things behind the scenes. Adjusting animation behavior. Your active styles are in the container, so when you press the whole thing, to only move the face, you need 2 layers wrapped. No. I had this working here. So something about the way you applying the box shadow is breaking it. Yeah, I'm thinking too. It seems the user is facing, yeah, I know what I'm facing. You know, I wonder if this, we remove this. No, it doesn't like that. Let's see what its solution is. Let's split the button into 2 layers again, but this time the outer wrapper holds only the shadow. No. I don't want to overcomplicate it. Why can't the button just adapt style that worked and replace the colors dynamically? All right, let's try this now. You can keep the exact same single div structure you had and just drive the colors from each. All right, now let's see what it wants me to do here. Let's try to replace this whole div. All right, that works. Okay, that worked. Now, I wonder if we do, like if we pull this out, if we pull these two things out, ooh, that's a really ugly animation, but it works. So size, shape, wait, what happens when this gets removed? Cursor pointer. Now it just stays like this. Okay, fine. So this is the pointer. Transition all duration, border 1 pixel. Default 3D shadow using Arceus var shadow color. All right. Active translate shadow none, active border B0. Okay, I think this is it right now. So the real question is, let's copy this out. All right. So this is the core button, and I've grouped the styles to how I would imagine they could be applied to any div to turn it into a 3D button. You just need the face color, side color, and icon, correct? Exactly, that div is now fully encapsulated in your 3D button. You can drop it into any div. Okay, so now what I want to do is let's apply it now to this and see what happens. All right, so theoretically now, this button should act the same. It just don't have the styling for the class. Where's the icon? I don't think this is going to work correctly, but one could only hope. Okay. So now the real question is, let's do this. It's interesting how that no longer becomes a button. All right, so what I wanted to do was I was trying to figure out how how can I apply the same style here so it acts like the other button? All right, so now let's copy this and paste it in, which broke a lot of stuff. Why did it break all this stuff? Input to the div. So we're going to go input to the div. Let's comment this out and we'll add this in and save it. And now this acts the same, this acts the same, this acts the same, this acts the same. Okay. Okay, now I want you to give me Tailwind styles, Tailwind utility classes I can apply to both buttons without without the need to duplicate the styles by hand. All right, so let's see what it comes up with, and then I think we'll start wrapping it up for the day. A single reusable class and a tiny config tweak, so you never write those 8 utilities twice. All right. Component in your global CSS and use it everywhere. Can you break out the shape so I can dynamically change the shape of the button I apply it to? Some buttons will be square, some will be circle. Remove the round full from your 3D component and press it and pass it at render time. I'm going to want to update these button variants to add the new 3D logic. So some might be different shapes, and I'd like a way to wait. All right. Let's take a step back. I have these button variants, and I want to get to a place where I can define the buttons by color: lime, red, sky, etc., which makes a default button in that color. Then I want to apply a shape to make it circle or rectangle with rounded corners. And finally, I want to be able to apply the 3D effect and supply the side color. All right, let's see if it follows this a little bit better. Here's where we split out your variants. 3 orthogonal concerns: color, shape, and effect. And then stitch them back together via CVA, class variance authority. You can adopt it if you're using Tailwind variants or other utilities, but the idea is the same. Compound variance. Now we need to tell 3D what button side color should be per. Okay. I think I get this. I think I get what's going on here. All right. Here's my button class. Can you update it for me? All right, I think I may have actually gotten it to where I want it to be. All right, this would be a great stopping place if I could just get this now to if I can get this now to just become this reusable class, or yeah, reusable button class. It gets so confusing with TypeScript because they are classes and then they're other things and all kinds of stuff. It's really taking its sweet time thinking. Ooh, it actually... All right. Let's now copy this and paste it. And there are two... All right, I think I might have to go back in and fix this interface. And so I bet you, yeah, button props is here. Oh, well, it's all part of the same class. So I don't know why this code didn't work. I guess just some of these properties just need to now be exposed on the interface, which this is the interface. I wasn't paying attention. The problem is that the React's built-in already has a color string prop, so you collides with it. Rename your CVA color variant to something that won't collide. All right. So it's just saying that there's a color variant already built in, so it's just probably, it's colliding with that. So we're just going to replace this, which now fixes that. So again, it's an interesting templating system. I sort of am wrapping my head around it now. And now, then render the keys instead of raw colors. Button, variants, current page info icon. That second part does not match up with this. All right, let's see here. Updated your component, right? We have the button props, fine. And now we should replace this. And now if we come here and I go back to the editor, this button is going to fail, but that's fine because what we need to do now is let's go into the, let me see if I can find the save. Unsaved prompt editor. Here we go. There should be a clean button here. Okay, so now Okay, so now, okay, so now how can I make this a square 3D green button with, well, it'll pick the icon correctly. All right, let's see. Oh, if I could fix this, then I'd call this a huge win. But this is what I needed, and it has taken me like half a day to figure out. Here's your clean button turned into a 3D green square. If you want an icon only square, use size icon. All right, so we now do this, and please, please, please. It didn't do anything. Huh. I wonder if I can change the color to red. Yeah, it's actually not doing anything. Whoa, is this class dead? Interesting. Share. Reveal and explore. That's interesting. Copy path. I'm just going to put that path. This is going to give me an error, but at least I can remember this path. I'm going to delete this. All right, I guess. Oh no, wait. Now it's starting to do something. Failed to load resource. Yeah. Check out. Oh, git checkout. All right, now let's restart. Huh. What is... What? Why won't this... Why doesn't this change? Oh, there we go. Now this change is taking effect. So your green 3 is flat because you never actually set the CSS var that your shadows. What? Wait. Hold on a second. The full. All right, so now let's do this. We'll update this. And then prompt editor controls now. Let me just feed it this whole thing and see if it can help me feed it. Now how can I update the the clean and save buttons. Oh, looks like I missed a comment from somebody. Adele, I don't know if you're still there. I just saw your comment. I don't know why it didn't come through on the chat. But I'm building a prompt cleaning tool called What the Prompt. Just past the 3 knobs on each button. Button. Why did it do it so? Why did it make this stupid? All right. I think I see what it wants me to do, though. So here's the clean. So this, I just need to get rid of these pluses because for some reason it decided to give it to me as a merge instead of as code. Huh. That's a big mess. Lime. Show me the full code. Like, I hate when it does this stuff where it gives me this like partial whatever the hell it is, and then I have no idea how to actually do something with it. All right, I have a feeling that part of the problem is it's still getting styles from the parent. Okay. Now, how can I remove the conflicting styles in the index.css and tailwind.config.ts. Delete or comment out the whole block in your player components or layer components. Why? Oh, whatever. Let's see here. Does that fix anything? No. And in fact, it breaks more things. The full updated code. Ugh. I got to move on to other things today, but I really, really want to get this working. No changing. Your conflicting styles were coming from Tailwind's add component in the config. Oh, okay. Remove all margin and padding. No, this is fine. This is Tailwind config. Dude, what are you doing here to me? Plugins, fine. Okay, I'll do it by hand because clearly you don't want to do the thing I'm asking you to do. All right. So that's gone. Now let's go to the index and replace everything here with this. And not only did it still break it, but it just literally broke everything. Oh my God, what are you doing to me here, dude? I'll just do it by hand again. It's fine. Don't you worry yourself. Glass card, button primary, secondary accent, danger, text gradient. All right. All right. I have made the following changes and still not seeing the 3D effect. All right, I think this is going to be my last attempt here. I'll have to come back to this another day because I got so much other things I need to do today. In the table config, the components, so now only your theme and plugins remain. All right. Then reintroduce the 3D button definitions under player component. All right, let's get rid of this and this. And then these will now be all in here, I think. Why is this styling wrong? All right. Let's try to see the formatting for how it wants this object. Fine. There's no commas needed. All right. Remove this and this. Show me full code. Come on. All right, let's have it fix this code. All right, and now we come back here and jack. I am only seeing nothing has changed. Okay, I'm going to need to move on to some other stuff, but I think for right now, I think the biggest win for today were these nav buttons, even though everything's so broken. At least I know how to style these. Here are the pieces. Wire end to end so that you do your three tailwind. Oh, we actually need to give me real code now. All right. Index. Sure, whatever. I'm just gonna, I'll come back to this later. Button component. And prompt editor. Prompt editor controls. Wait, it's like totally. All right. We'll do this one last fix and see if this will fix it, and then if not, I'll move on to something else later. No. All right, I've had enough. I'm just going to tell it that it failed, and then I will have to come back to this another time. Let me just mark this chat as a work in progress. Okay. Defines your Define your 3D classes in one. All right. UI buttons. Ah! Closer. So now I can identify at least maybe what's breaking things. What did I do here? Oh, come on. This was working fine a second ago. All right. All right. Okay. I think I've had enough fun for one day. For anyone who's watching still, I'm sorry, but thanks for watching. And yeah, I'll be back on Monday to do some more of this stuff. Hopefully by then I'll have had some time to work on this a little bit better so it's not just completely a mess. And then I got to move on to a whole bunch of other projects, but I'm hoping to get this out by the end of the month, so I got some work to do. All right, have a good weekend, and I will speak to you guys on Monday.